regularly scheduled board meeting. Section 40, Economic Development Corporation. May I have a roll call for discussion?
Chairman,
Here.
Here. Mr. Tyler, Mr. Dallas, Mr. Roswell, here. Mr. Rockwell, here. Mr. Chairman, we have four.
Well, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to work with this Economic Development Corporation. Help us have to define the thoughts of the work of the city we chose to do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Pledge. Have our minutes from our July 12th special meeting, July 20th special meeting, and July 22nd special meeting. We have a motion to approve those minutes. In your packet, they're not in yours. On the top. Let me get him minutes, please.
I make a motion.
I second.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, when you guys speak, can you guys bring down the mic so that the recording could pick you guys up if y'all don't mind? Thank y'all.
Yes, I made the motion.
Good, Mr. Petrie. So the minutes wasn't in the packet that was sent out in the email? Mr. Baptiste? The email that went out didn't have the minutes in it?
Uh, yes, sir. It's, all packets, mine did. Did you
I'm talking
guys?
about the email.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was all the minutes.
I have a motion and a second to approve our minutes for those board meetings. All in favor? Opposed?
Rhonda.
Motion carries. At this time, we have presentations. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, Commissioner, we have Deputy Chief Houston and Chief Haven. Are you guys or Mr. Houston going to do it? Houston, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. All right. We come forward before you guys today to ask about utilizing the property off of Jade, the business park, in reference to a debris management site, if possible. Of course, when we have a major hurricane, the inherent danger posed by undercollected debris and is apparent, and it will be in the best interest of the public and the city to protect against the accumulation of debris and trash. So what we ask is that if we could utilize the properties at the business park to have a debris management site for that location, if possible.
Questions?
Yes. Is that a temporary collection site just for?
Yes, sir. It'll be temporary. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So there is a transition plan from when it's gonna go there and the duration for the amount of time it will be there.
Yes, sir.
Before it goes someplace else.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we would be responsible for the cleanup and everything once we're finished with the site.
Okay. Got it.
Yes, Smith.
The cleanup involved.
Well, we have a contracted company called the Gulf, and what they would do is, of course, we wouldn't want it in the front of the business park. We want it further to the back, so we put a temporary road down. Any debris any debris or contaminants there, we'll remove that. And we'd also, I know it's green grass over there, so of course, once we're finished with it, we'll replace everything and bring it back to what it originally looked like.
It would be non-hazardous material.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
I think it was Harvey, is that right?
Yes, sir. It was Harvey 2017.
Yeah, the emergency command team came to this board and asked the board to use the Park Jade Avenue. If you look at, in your package, I gave you guys an agreement that we had signed with them. At the very back of that agreement is a map of Jade Avenue. And as Chief Houston said, is at the rear of the park on Jade Avenue. He did say one of the things that we did stipulate is that the property had to be returned to the condition that it was in prior to, and the city brought that property back to where it was when they originally took control of that property for that time.
So how much of the property will be used? Do you have any idea?
It was about 19 acres last time.
Okay.
It was done. Approximately 19 acres.
Yes, sir.
They would have to build an access road to the rear because there's no road there, and they're on soft ground, so they shelled it down so they could drive their vehicles to the back.
Okay.
When it's all over, they pick all that stuff.
We'll pick all of it up.
If there is any hazards that come out of anything, that they do test the soil after to make sure there is no hazardous there. If there is hazardous, then they are responsible for remediating that site.
This an action item.
What we're asking you, commissioners, is for us to move forward with putting together agreement with between, this board and the Emergency Command Center, operation team, to move forward with, dedicating that particular land. We'd like to bring this agreement back to you guys at your next board meeting for y'all to approve.
Want to
If y'all
moving
desire.
forward with going forward, putting the agreement together.
I just do have one question. So during hurricane season, it'll be basically from, say, the start of hurricane season and to the end at that point?
Yes, sir.
So it won't be utilized after hurricane season?
No, sir.
Got you. All right.
Yeah, we just really just giving direction to Mr. Baptiste to move forward. So everybody's okay with it.
I'm cool.
Do we need a formal motion for that?
I think if you could give me direction, move forward with drafting the agreement for y'all approval, that would be okay.
I don't really know if we can do that because it's not an action item.
Get your speaker.
I don't know if we can legally do that because it's not on the agenda as an action item.
Well, we're not taking action, I'm giving directions to me.
I don't even know if we can do that. We don't have an attorney here tonight.
We've done that in the past, and if we need to call Guy for that, we can. But we've done that in the past, just giving direction to move forward because we're not actually approving the agreement. It's just approving him to go forward with putting the agreement together for our review.
I understand, but that is taking an action. Directing him to do something is taking an action. And if we did it before, that doesn't mean it was done correctly. I just don't want to do something that's out of line and somebody challenge it.
Mr. Chairman, I think, the attorney may be, you could call him if the commissioner wanted a response from the attorney, we could probably call the attorney and let the attorney answer the commissioner question.
Thank you very much. I feel more comfortable.
Bring that speaker.
I certainly
That
support
extension
it.
is not valid.
I don't think they can do nothing until we vote for or against, so it really wouldn't matter to me.
Is this speaker?
The subscriber you have dialed.
That's not the right number. I think that's a 0 at the end. Oh, my phone, man. I don't think that's right. Hold on. Here's a 0. Mm-hmm.
Please leave your name, contact information, and a brief message.
What about the city attorney? Maybe she can help us. Val?
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, if we could move on, we can come back next board meeting with an action item. Chief, we just have to wait another month before we could execute things.
Not a problem. That's not a problem.
I would like to make a comment. I think it's a great idea and I support it. I just want to do it the right way.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know if we can since it's not listed as an action item.
Yes, sir.
That's the only concern I have.
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
not a problem, Speaker.
All right.
What we'll do, Mr. Petrie, is we'll go ahead and put together a packet so that we can come to y'all, get y'all's blessing on it, and then we can turn right around and take it to the city council for their approval. And that should shorten the process. But I get the general feeling, just from the discussion here, that nobody's really opposed to this. We just want to make sure we're doing it in the right order.
I have a question, because I like to save a month. If the individual, who made the motion?
There's no
There's
motion, we're
motion.
just giving
Okay,
direction.
so if we did make a motion, provided that it is legal, since you said we did it before, then we can maybe do it that way, that it's contingent, that it's in line with Robert Rules of Order. So I tell you what, can I make the motion?
Let's do it. Come on, make a motion.
Okay,
No, we can't do it.
I move that.
Hold on.
Hold on.
We can't make a motion on it. We give the direction.
We'll go ahead and put together a package
There you
and bring
go.
it back to y'all.
Very good.
And then y'all have the ability to say no at that time, if you so desire, or y'all can support it, and we'll continue to move forward. But I think we've got the direction that we need from y'all to move forward with.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Hey man, sorry I was in the parking garage over
Yeah,
on the Main Street in Houston. So you want to call me back?
okay, I'm gonna have Daryl give you a call. Daryl gonna give you a call, guy.
Did you hear that? So I just pulled out of the parking lot and I'm on Main Street over here. You want to call me back?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Guy, we had a question. So on a presentation, we were trying to give direction to Mr. Baptiste to move forward with putting an agreement together to bring back to us to vote on. And the question was, can we do that without it being an action agenda item?
It's a direct. I wasn't aware of what the presentation.
It was about using the land to pick up and store the debris from storms.
Yeah, you all may recall or may not, is that site is on Jade Avenue has already been used as a debris location after Harvey. There is in the EDC files, and possibly in our files as well, a copy of an agreement that was drafted to enable you to do that, but to place all the responsibility, including all mitigation and certification from the TCQ on cleanup, to return the site to a pre-existing condition. You've already entered into one of those agreements, so I think all the board needs to do is to ask Mr. Baptiste to resurrect that agreement, updating it to newer information for a yet to be unidentified disaster. And yes, I think you all can just simply give him the direction to prepare the similar document that was executed approximately just a little under 4 years ago, and have that available for the board's consideration. And again, you all have gone through that very exercise once before for the use of that site for both non-hazardous and then for a location for things such as propane tanks and some other matters that were collected and then disposed of after accumulation on that site.
Okay, thank you.
I feel you're perfectly fine to give him that directive.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead and drive. We'll call you back if we need you, when we need you. Guy? You already clicked over. All right, so yes, sir. Let's go ahead and do just that. Get that agreement together and bring it back to us for us to
to review. All right, moving on to communications. Mr. Baptiste.
In your package, you guys received a resignation letter from Mr. Surface. Also in your package, there is something from the Greater Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce, the membership luncheon. I think we spoke to you guys at the last board meeting about that on August, which will be August the 25th. Those of you who are interested in going to that luncheon, if you guys would contact the office and make Joni aware, we certainly would reserve a seat for you guys. And Mr. Chairman, I did receive a late notice today. If you guys wish to consider that notice in your packet, I think we handed out to you guys today. It's up to this board. The event is, I think it's Friday and Saturday, but it's up to the board.
What's up to the board, Mr. Baptiste?
I think the late notice is a sponsorship.
Go ahead and go.
It's not part of your agenda. It's not part of your agenda, but
go ahead. We have it.
They're making a request. I said, Christian Faith Women of Virtue Incorporation. They're requesting a table at $400. If you guys wish to sponsor that, let us know, and we'll do what you guys tell us.
Questions? Comments? What do we want to do? Nothing.
So what, women's conference?
Right.
Like a diamond women's conference?
Question. Motion to. That we sponsor a table at the Diamond Conference.
I'll second it.
Been moved in second to sponsor the table for the upcoming Diamond Conference, and of course we've sponsored tables and things like that before. So all in favor for that? Opposed? Mr. Baptiste, if you would, take care of that for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank y'all for hearing that. That did come in late. We kind of trying to get things on target, so thank y'all for hearing that. We'll now have our reports. Am I right? Yeah, reports, workforce development.
Good evening, board. So I'm going to start off with our youth employment program. As you all know, it started early this year. The recruitment process, the interviews, placing students at different employers throughout the city. And I will say that on last Friday, we actually had one of our partners, Robogistics, to come to our location, and they had the end of the summer celebration here. And I'm proud to say that out of the interns that they received, they are retaining 3 Port Arthur residents that will be working there. They will be working in engineering, production, and sales. They were very impressed with the students that were placed at their location, and I'm talking about not just Robogistics, but the City of Port Arthur Health Department, Standard Alloys, Williams Construction, and Carey and Allison Law Firm. So I actually had an opportunity to send out an evaluation, and I will say that in my actual folder, I have evaluations of those students that actually took a part in our youth employment program, and I will say that all of those evaluations are excellent. I mean, they are really, really good. So I was very impressed with the program this year. And also, if you look, I actually put a picture on top of your packets. I posted this picture today. It's on Facebook as well as LinkedIn, and it's just showcasing Robogistics because they were here Friday and they decided to use the PA EDC as their end of summer celebration. But these are some of the students featured as well as the employers that work at Robogistics here in our building, and they had great things to say. Moving on to our CDL program, I will say that the CDL program Class A and B are coming along really well. To date, 5 have completed their CDL certification. I will say 2 are currently employed. 1 is awaiting, they actually went through an interview process, and they planned on making contact with our deputy director if things didn't work out to start up his own company. Also, 1 is currently seeking employment, and 1 states employers want more drive time under their belt before considering employment. So that's something I just want to put out there. And that new student intake is an ongoing process. Every day I'm getting people calling. Some come in that want to be a part of the CDL program. Some qualify, some don't qualify because it's a process. Acadian Ambulance, I will say, we started off with a big number. It kind of came down to between 19 and 20 participants. I will say that only 6 went to the next level because they didn't pass their tests. So we have 6 that is actually moving on to the next step in receiving their medic certification. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. Also, the first stipend is still out there. We've been working continuously, myself, Rachel, George, trying to work with purchasing to get those first stipend payments out to those students that started. So that's an ongoing process, and as we speak, they're working on it. We've been on it every day, calling. And actually, when I went there Friday, I actually talked with Cliff myself. So hopefully we can get those first stipend payments out to those that started off in the medic program. And as far as the scaffolding program is concerned, we currently have no new students partaking interest in the scaffolding program at this time. Do you have any questions for me?
Just for me, on the CDL program, have you started receiving that report that you?
That's the thing. I've reached out to Amanda several times. I've copied George, and I haven't received anything. We've talked, and I hadn't received anything.
Wonder why?
That's interesting.
How many did we,
I thought that was a part of the stipulation. Wasn't it a part of the stipulation?
Yeah, it is.
how many started the program?
I have that information right here. So for 2021, we currently have 15 enrolled. Let's see. Yeah, 15 enrolled. We have 11 awaiting and 5 that have completed the program.
How many actually started the program?
Started, let's see, 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 22.
Thank you.
Renata, in regards to the state's employers want more drive time under the belt before considering employment, do we know what states those are? Or I'm trying to understand what is that like Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico?
Well, no, he was just the guy that I spoke with. Just stated that the employers that he's been applying to, they're stating that okay, you have the certification, but we want you to have more drive time. But without experience, they don't have the drive time. Not states, just stated. He stated. Yeah.
Oh, okay. If I may make a recommendation, during my time when I was working for Baker Hughes, they have a mentorship program because they had such a shortage of these people that have this kind of program. And what they would do, they would hire them on and put them under a main driver to give them that drive time and give them time and under the wheel while they were still paying them. And then from that standpoint, once they meet their drive time and they meet their expectations, they pass a few road tests, then they were just brought on full time. Is this organization targeting those organizations' mentorship programs to help them to get that drive time so they can get in the door?
That I don't know.
that may be something we want to look into, because I've actually hired these kind of guys for people like Baker Hughes, Schlumberger, and all this kind of stuff, and we put them into a driver's program within those organizations once they got their Class A certification, and then from there they start getting endorsements.
Okay.
So that may be something we want to look into to help them to,
Maybe you
get
can
past
me with
that first wave.
You can
Second?
assist me with that?
Oh, anytime. Anytime. I got
Okay.
contacts that I can
That's a
connect you
very
with.
good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they got, this is such a demand right now.
Yes.
That's kind of even strange to even hear that, that they want to find different ways to get people through the door besides having more drive time, because if they don't get drive time on the job, where they going to get it?
Exactly.
Just, so reach out to me, let me know.
Okay, I'll reach
Okay?
out to you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good question?
I do. For the scaffolding program, you say they have no students at all currently in there. What are we doing to try to get reaching out to any people that's interested in this program?
Pretty much just putting information out there through our LinkedIn, Facebook, things of that sort. That's pretty much how we do it. Lamar pretty much does. They go to Lamar.
Okay.
We just provide the actual money for them to attend the program, but they actually do their own recruitment process through Lamar.
Okay, so everything is going through Lamar for them to get in. It seemed like that would be something that scaffolding, we have nothing but refineries around here. It seemed
Yeah.
like people would be in this program. So, okay.
So one additional thing to piggyback on Commissioner Harris' communication, do we have an update from Work Keys and what they may be doing now? Because
I'm going to yield that question to Deputy Director George Davis because he started.
Right. Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah. And Commissioner Harris, one of the things, as you guys know, we do have an agreement with the workforce system, and we get a database of any skill set that's registered in that workforce system. So those scaffold builders, they in that system. So we know who they are. We know who they are. We know who wants to be a scaffold builder. And George, I cannot remember the truck company we were working with before, LS something, that did the same thing that you were talking about. Yeah. Right. I haven't been in touch with them 6-7 months, but they were looking for folks like that. I can't remember their name. You remember those folks?
I just pretty much got all this information like a couple of months ago, so I hadn't really, it wasn't ever trickled down to me. So, yeah.
I just want to make a comment that I think that Mr. Smith that's a great idea. Individuals like Schlumberger and companies like that will help them get their experience, and I think that's a great idea. Yes.
Thank you, Renata. Program.
I would say Crystal went home ill today, and she included in her package something about Standard Airlord. And also INC Entertainment ribbon cutting for their first project, Walk On. That's all I see in her package today.
Okay. We have the report in the package. Let's move on to our financial report, please.
Good evening, Board. Tonight, we're going to be looking at the financials up into July 31st, 2021. We'll be looking at the statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. October the 20th, we projected $4,400,000 in sales tax. As of July 31st, 2021, we have $82,849, leaving an unrealized revenue of $317,000, $151. Our interest revenue was projected at $75,000. As of July 31st, it's $13,538, leaving an unrealized revenue of $61,462. We estimated loan repayment at $57,651. As of July 31st, 2021, $60,421, leaving, actually we're over in that line item, $2,770 as of July 31st. Rental income was estimated at $144,548. Our actual as of July 31st, $54,608, leaving us an unrealized revenue of $89,940. Business park revenue was estimated at $70,715. As of July 31st, $53,473, leaving an unrealized revenue of $17,242. Land sales was estimated at $287,500. As of July 31st, $343,559. We have a overage of plus side of $56,059 in our land sales, which is great. Our land lease was estimated at $10,800, and our actual is $700. As of July 31st, is $6,300, leaving unrealized revenue of $4,500. We did not project miscellaneous, but as of July 31st, $40. Leaving us actually revenue overage of $40. Our total revenue was estimated at $5,046,214 as of October 2020, excuse me. Our actual as of July 31st, 2021 is $4,614,789, leaving us an unrealized revenue of $431,425. Our expenditures for as of July 31st, 2021 is $3,027,392, leaving us an excess of revenue of $2,018,822. Our transfer in of our debt service of $866,533, we have $216,633 left to fund for this fiscal year. Our net fund and change balance is $1,152,289. Our beginning balance, fund balance at the end of the year, which is estimated, was $4,501,694, leaving us an estimated fund balance at the end of the year of $5,653,983. I will tell you the sales tax. Right now, we estimated $4,400,000, and our actual is $4,082,849, and that's only as of June of 2021, July of 2021. August have not been set up on the website yet, so I can't figure that tax yet. So I can tell you by the time August and September come, we're actually going to be over what we estimated for in sales tax. And with sales tax overage and also with the excess in land sales that we had this year, we're looking pretty good here now. All the backup is behind the first sheet if you want to look at what make up the numbers for the expenditures. The sales tax is 12%, about 12%. Percentage over last year at this time. That will conclude my report. We're winding down to the very end here. We have August and September left. Everything is looking solid. We don't look like we have any issues going on and look like we might end this year we will end with a positive balance, but you guys have nothing to worry about. Everything is pretty strong at this time. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, board. Y'all have a nice evening.
Do the same. Community and Business Center report.
Evening.
So the building is looking great. Construction, the substantial completion of the Lamar area was not on target as planned. For July 26th, they were running about a week behind. But the furniture that they ordered, there was a delay with that, so it kind of gave the contractor some breathing room. The elevator is scheduled to arrive tomorrow. The walk-in cooler for Lamar arrived today. So the technicians will be coming to install that. Both of the teaching kitchens actually look like MasterChef teaching kitchens. Now you walk in and it's very exciting. Spectrum has installed the fiber optics up to the curb. They'll be back in the next week to put it into the building so that DataBox can complete what they need to do. And that furniture delivery will be rescheduled once that elevator is installed so that they can use it to get to the second floor. DataBox now has a weekly call just with the EDC, with Lamar, and with city officials about their IT needs and aside from the contracting call, so that they don't have to hear about everything else that's going on. We can just fully concentrate on what they need to talk about. So we do that now on Thursday mornings at 8:30, so that now we can be very specific about what we need to talk about with those details. They are working with Lamar, and their security is going to be seamless with what they have on their main campus. And the exterior cameras are installed. The interior cameras are going up, so it's you see a building now. The walls are up, they're painted, the ceiling grids are in. It's really exciting. The flooring's in, the cabinets, the countertops. It's beautiful. Let's see what else. The restaurant RFP closed on the 28th. Purchasing has not given me a date yet for the opening of those bids, but we do have on the agenda tonight to appoint a committee so that we can review those once that time comes. We don't want to have to wait until the next board meeting. So staff is going to ask you guys to go ahead and appoint the committee so that once those bids are open, we can move forward. All of the information requested by Councilwoman Moses and other councilmen at the joint meeting has been dispersed, and I've gotten positive feedback from them on what I was able to provide. Let's see, what else? The plumbing's complete for the restaurant. The structural steel for our side of the building is 100% complete, so they should begin pouring their second floor slab in the next week and then put that roof on. And the contractor's telling us that November of this year is when we're looking at a completion date. Let's see. What else? We have the lease agreement with Lamar to talk about tonight. With the collective, I've heard from 35 local artists. 22 of them are from Port Arthur about being interested in participating in that program and being vetted to hang artwork in our building. Let's see, Facebook, we had 844 engagements this week, 116 actual interactions through Facebook Messenger, 42 new page likes. So Facebook has been very, very busy with regard to getting the word out about what we're doing and what we have available. So that's all I have, unless you have some questions.
And I think, don't you want to get the board to form a subcommittee for your restaurant?
We talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do that tonight so that when purchasing opens those bids, we can.
Is it on the agenda to form a subcommittee, or can you do
I
that?
saw it.
On the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions? Y'all ready for a tour?
What was my question? Speaking of tour, and President, Mr. Chairman, do we need special permission to video live stream this tour so we can add it to your Facebook to hopefully get people to get more visual about what we're trying to do?
Well, what I do is I try to take still photos. My issues with a live video would be if, let's say, for some reason there would be a safety issue or something that maybe we wouldn't want to broadcast.
Okay.
Also, security issues. You know, we don't necessarily want people to know what's in that building until it's, You know, not that it's not secure and not locked down, but I don't necessarily want the public to know that we have, you know, $600,000 worth of kitchen equipment there
I
when
understand,
the building's not.
and that's makes perfect sense to me.
Mhm.
So at some point, maybe when we have the grand opening or some kind of
Correct. Oh,
finalization, that's something that we should be blowing.
Now you know I'm gonna
Okay,
make sure
all right.
that that's right.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for
Mr.
Janet?
Chairman, I have a question.
Right ahead.
On this subcommittee, what are they gonna be doing? What's their role gonna be?
Basically reviewing the bids for the restaurant that's coming in.
And then what?
Bring a
Bring
recommendation.
it back to the board with a recommendation.
Okay. And I have a question on the, well, we hadn't gotten to it yet, so I'll wait. I'll wait till we get to the other.
Okay. Anything else for Jana?
I just encourage everybody, man, if you on any media or any Facebook media, share this information because it's essential to all of us. It's a representation of not just Jana, but all of us on this board. So some of my friends may not be your friends, and some of your friends may not be my friends. So
Right, and then
sharing
we'll
is
see.
caring.
We'll see the fall, you know, what happens, because anybody that comes in for a meeting about the lab, they get information about everything, no matter if it's the micro loan program that Rachel administers or Renata's workforce development or job training, job skills, they get a packet that includes everything, because even if they don't need it, they may know someone who does. And so I make sure that they have all the information before they leave.
I share all the information from the lab. You know, anytime you post it, I always repost it, and I've got a few hits from people, and I just refer them to the lab, to the site. So I'm saying that to say whoever, you know, on any media, if you share it, if you get 3 or 4 people interest,
Right.
any interest is better than none, you know, so I just encourage everybody to share it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. CEO report?
I think those folks have said everything I had to say, Chairman.
Question? You good? Okay. Unfinished business? Discuss the possible consideration utilizing naming rights for buildings owned by PAEDC. Mr. Baptiste?
There was a request by Mr. Petrie. Or Mr. Petrie, can you?
Yes, the building that we're working on right now, the one that they're calling the press building, I have one, we had.
This mic, this is.
But the mic.
Am I okay?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things is generating revenues, and we having the opportunity to solicit naming rights for the building. And I've had several conversations with board members. I haven't met one board member that don't think that we should at least try. And also with the city council, I haven't met a council member that don't feel that we should at least try to see if we can do that. I haven't met anyone that had said to use the name, the press building. I've spoken with the mayor, city council members. Haven't met one that I've spoken to recall authorizing using the name, the press building, including board members that I've spoken with. And this name somehow it just evolved. It's stuck. But nobody gave permission to do that. And the only ones can actually do that is the city council. And even if we voted on it and agreed to name it whatever we want to call it, it still has to go before the city council to approve it. And none of that's been done. And I think before we spend too much money on press building or any name, we need to make sure we do it the correct way, or it may be challenged. And there'd be a lot of money wasted unnecessarily. I do think that we need to find out with the new attorney. I think that Mr. Goodson had some concerns that he wanted to check into on naming the building, if we can actually do that. And we hadn't heard back from him on that. So I think we need to pick up with the new attorney and see if we can. And if we can legally do that, then it's the will of this board to decide if they want to proceed with that or not. Now, I know like when we did in Houston, you take like the Toyota Center, and I mean, those guys paid $100 million to name it Toyota Center. Along we have Minute Maid Park. Here we have Ford Park. Just right down the street at Lamar Bechtel, they used to have a sign. I don't know if he lost it in a hurricane or whatever, but it was like the Bechtel softball stadium, just right down Lakeshore Drive. So, and that was naming rights. And I just see an opportunity to create some revenues for the EDC. So I think that of course, you know, I just like to see us move forward with finding out first if we can do it, and then the board decide whether or not if they want to do it. And I think we need to do it before we get too forward with this. It could very well end up being the press building. I don't know. But if we can make some money, we the Economic Development Corporation, we're about money, and we should be trying to make some money. If we can sell it and put somebody, it could be called Motiva, Valero, Popeye's Fried Chicken. It doesn't matter to me. As long as if we can get some money for it, it'd be nice to have some money coming in on an annual basis. I think we should look at doing it to all our buildings, naming them. Thank you.
Mr. Baptiste, read Mr. Goodson's.
Let me just say, first thing, Mr. Petrie, we certainly appreciate that. And I will say that in the application to EDA for the grant, it was called the press building, you know, and the council approved it as the press building. The application to EDA said this building will be called the press building. I did provide you guys with a memo from the lawyer saying that, as you just stated, you know, if the board chose to move forward, I would have to check with EDA because they do have a lien on that building for 20 years, if that could happen. The other thing, especially with this building, THC, Texas Historical Commission, have put money into this building also, and it is on the historical register. So whatever the board choose to do, I would move forward with checking with both THC, Texas Historical Commission, and EDA, the Economic Administration, to see if that's okay.
I truly understand, and if I would like to check into it. I understand that we had to have a name to get it started, and you couldn't just send a blank application in and not have it some type of name on it. To me, it's kind of like when they had the Harris County Sports Authority. That's what they were calling the stadiums until they sold them. On all their information, it was called the Harris County Sports Authority. And then after they were built and they sold the naming rights, then it became like Enron Field, it was changed to Minute Maid Park and so forth. So I certainly understand your concern, and I do think that that investigation need to be done. And I think it would be foolish for us to move forward and not check into those organizations you just named, because they could very well not want it changed because it's on the grant. We don't know that.
They have a tremendous investment in this.
I certainly understand, and I think that we should contact them and find out the proper way before we would move forward. Yeah. So,
and that, Commissioner, that's why I have not moved forward, because I wanted to know the consensus of this board, what the board wants to do. If the board say let's move forward and we want try to go out with a naming right, then I contact both EDA and THC and see where they stand on this thing. I think the board also needs to talk, if they're going to go that route, and talk about at what price and how you're going to go about soliciting proposals.
Absolutely. But I would like to say, sir, I would like to add, before we put that manpower into doing that, I would first want to find out if those other groups you just named would have a concern, because if they have a concern, that's gonna kill it right there.
Well, and I'm on the opposite side of that, Mr. P, because I don't want to do nothing until the board say that this is what they want to
Yeah,
do.
well, that's what I'm saying.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's why it's on the agenda for the board to take action. And if the board take action to move forward with this, then I move forward. If they take action not to move forward, then I'm not gonna call those folks.
Have any other questions about it?
No, but I would, yeah, go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was just wondering, is this something?
might.
Is this something we need to consider with Guy on the phone right now to figure out what the possibility
Well,
would be?
Guy's the one that sent us the letter.
Oh, he's the one that sent us the
Yes,
letter?
he's saying that we need to check with these before we move forward with trying to do anything with naming rights.
Yeah, well, my recommendation would be to.
Make a motion.
Make a motion to proceed with the investigation to understand the feasibility of what we want around the naming rights. And then from there, kind of come back and make a decision on what we can do based on that feasibility.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I second it.
It's been moved in second that we allow Mr. Baptiste to make those necessary phone calls and do the research to find out what exactly we can do as it relates to the naming rights of the buildings that we own. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I think we made a mistake. We're only talking about the buildings that's pertain, well, certainly all the buildings we own, but the investigation doesn't include all the buildings. The investigation is particularly to the one, the press building, because that's the one where we got the grant money from. Like this building right here, I don't think that would apply to this one.
Historical.
But that
This
historical
building got
stuff.
historical money. The new market has played itself out over the 7 years, so you don't have to worry about that. Because
Right.
Chase is out of it now. But you got money from the historical commission for this building also.
But do we have any other buildings where we didn't get historical monies?
No,
Okay, well, great, okay.
this is the only building. You have this building, the other property that you guys own. If y'all want to continue naming, you own a business park. If y'all want to sell the rights, the name of that, you own that park. You got a property on near the hospital. You own that property. If you want all the property names to sell rights to, we could provide you with a list of all the properties that you own. And if y'all want to go sell rights to name them all, you know, that's up to this board.
And then but those particular properties, we wouldn't have to do the investigation on that because we clear for that.
That's correct. The business park you outright own, the property on 73 you outright own, the property by the hospital you outright own. You don't have to check with anyone.
Thank you. That was it, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor? We already voted or we didn't? We did. Thank y'all. Thank you. Unfinished business number 2. Discuss for popular consideration seeking request for qualification for legal counsel and hiring an interim legal counsel for PA EDC. Mr. Baptiste.
Yes, sir. I think what you guys asked me to do is, I don't see it. We got, is this it? Okay, this is it. That's it. I reached out to 3 legal counsel. I received resumes from two of them. No, that's not. Okay, request for legal counsel, right? Qualification. Yeah. In your package, you guys have a copy of the proposed request for legal counsel. It's a draft copy. I think I gave you guys a copy of this last time. And if you wanted to change or amend or discard or go with something different, it's up to the board.
Can I make a comment, sir? You had sent out an email to us and you had asked us to get a proposal. Okay, well, I did exactly what you had emailed us, Mr. Chairman. And I was sent a proposal by the training attorney that we were trained.
Mr. Petrie, that's the second part of the agenda item. The first part of the RFQ, that part is the second part of it.
Okay.
I think at last board meeting, I gave you guys a draft that I pulled from the internet. I think that was in Somalia, Texas. Yeah. And this is just a draft of the same thing that we gave to you guys. And, you know, it's up for y'all, you know, if this is what y'all want to do, or y'all could hire a firm to go out there and however y'all wish to do it, you know.
This is the one that the city uses or has used
Well,
before.
the city did not have one that, in fact, I got this, I had some discussion with the city attorney.
Yes.
And what we did, both of us, we looked at it, and we, I think, right outside of San Antonio, the Economic Development Corporation was looking for a legal counsel, and they had a proposal online, and we pulled that, and we did some wordsmith to fit this organization, and this is what we came up with, and we presented it to you guys to see if you guys want to move forward with this, or if y'all want to change it, or whatever y'all want to do with it.
Basically, we're looking at the request, and the question is this what we want to put out to do a search for our permanent legal counsel? Now, this agenda item is going to be taken in two parts because we have the RFQ and we have the possibly selecting an interim attorney as well in the same agenda item. So the first part dealt with.
Sir, I'd like to have time to read the verbiage of it. So right now, I'd like to maybe table it to the next meeting because I like to have time, or, you know, you have a special meeting or whichever, but I haven't a chance to read all of this, so I can't sit here and say,
Mr.
yeah,
Petrie,
let's
this
take
is
it
the
as
same
written.
one we gave you last board meeting. The same proposal that I gave you at last board meeting, this is the same one. The last board meeting we had, I gave you a draft copy of the proposal. We just reworded, we just put it in double space this time.
Okay.
I mean, bracket.
I would like to have some time to read it, sir.
Anybody else? What do you feel on this RFQ? And Mr. Petrie has expressed his concerns.
Same one, huh?
Well, let me ask this. Has everybody had an opportunity to read it except me?
No,
Because this certainly wasn't in my packet that I got today. Matter of fact, I didn't get any attachments in my packet.
no, this is from the last meeting. We had this, they just redone it and put it in this form.
Okay, I'm gonna still say this is my first time seeing it. Like the packet I got today, it didn't have any attachments in it, not one. The young lady gave me her packet, Rachel. I didn't have a label on my packet.
We got to get some.
I mean, I'm good with getting the interim in for now, but I don't want to rush. I haven't had a chance to read the language in this.
The consensus that we can.
I would like to make a recommendation that we table this for consideration and give the board members ample time to reread the information so that everybody have a solidified perspective on what we want to take actions on.
Second.
And we'll table the RFQ. And now the second part of that. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Opposed? I never knew we had to vote the table. Okay. Second part of the item. please, everyone, remember, make sure your mic comes on when you're talking, please. So the second part of the agenda item is to discuss for possible consideration hiring an interim legal counsel for the PAEDC. As Mr. Peter has already stated, I did send out get an email sent out so that each board member could have the opportunity to reach out to anyone in the law field that they may want to bring to us for this. And Mr. Baptiste, looked like we have 2 requests that came in. That is this unfinished business agenda item number 2, the second part of it. The 2, yeah.
Okay, Commissioners, you guys asked me to solicit resumes for interim legal services. I did make contact with with 3 attorneys. 2 of them submitted resumes for y'all review. And I think they just passed those 2 resumes out to you guys.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Garza was the gentleman that gave us the joint meeting with the Port Arthur City Council and the Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation. I know that Commissioner Smith, both Commissioner Smith and myself were in attendance for that training, along with City Council. And every single person, I think I spoke to every single person in the meeting, and even the city attorney, and asked them, just to see how they felt. And everyone felt very comfortable with Mr. Garza. The training was, to me, second to none. That's my own personal feeling on that. But I would move based on, and I've spoken to Mr. Garza. I gave y'all copies of the letter. Every commission should have a copy of it. I put it on here before the meeting, and this was his proposal to us to be our interim attorney while we look for a permanent attorney. And this was at the request of the chairman that he sent to each one of us. That was the only reason why I contacted him. And so I moved to make a motion that we accept his proposal.
Yeah, hold on before we make a motion, please. Hold that, please, if you don't mind. Because who's presenting Miss Williams?
City attorney suggested her name, and I reached out to her, and she sent a resume to me.
See, nothing. Anyone have any questions about? I was not at the training to meet Mr. Garza, and I do know Ms. Bush. I just don't know as far as what she's able to do as far as relates to what we do. So
that was my thought. As I look at her resume, it's like a bio. I see a clear line of delineation between what Mr. Garza does and what her specialization is, and I do not see an apple-to-apple comparison.
I myself wasn't able to attend a meeting either, so me personally, I would like to have some time to look over it, and before I make a decision, at least me, because I don't know who Mr. Garza is at all, and I didn't attend a meeting, and I personally would like to table and me myself.
Mr. Baptiste, did Ms. Williams give you a proposal?
Well, basically, I asked her for a resume. I did not ask her for a proposal. Mm-hmm. And I was about to answer that after I heard Mr. Smith. I did not ask for a proposal. I did contact Mr. Garza Thursday of last week. I contacted him Friday. I left voicemails. He did not return my call. I contacted him this morning, and I think late this afternoon he called me back, and then he forwarded me what he, if you notice, his letter was addressed to Mr. Petrie. So he dealt with Mr. Petrie, not with us.
But just for clarity, yes, he did. At the request of the chairman, ask all of us to reach out, and that's exactly what I did. And there is a motion on the floor, okay? I did make a motion. I haven't received a second yet because you stopped it, but there is a motion on the floor, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it. And I was at the workshop, and Mr. Garza, he was very experienced because he dealt with a lot of EDC organizations or corporations, and I was really impressed with him, and that's why I'm seconding it.
So with me tabling it, it still get to move forward, or?
He had a motion on the floor before that.
Before that, okay.
Yeah.
The reason why we're moving on this because August the 15th, we will not have any legal counsel. And we need somebody now, right now.
We shouldn't even have executive sessions without it. Yeah. Doing some serious problems.
This was the only recommendation we got was Mr. Garza, right? So we didn't have it. And well, Ms. Bush's information just came in, correct?
Ms. Williams, I did not ask her for a proposal.
Okay.
I asked for a resume.
Okay.
And I think the chairman, when you called me, you said get resumes of different attorneys. And I contacted, the city attorney gave me Ms. Williams. I think one of the commissioners gave me Mr. Garza, and I contacted Needle and EDC, Mr. Jim Wimley, because I know he does a lot of economic development. He did not submit any. I really just asked him for a resume. I didn't ask him for a proposal.
I think the key word that we're looking for is portfolio.
You're right. I think it's a proposal. I should have asked for a
Yeah,
proposal.
we should ask for a portfolio.
Agreed.
The portfolio, what I told you, their whole business, their areas of expertise, their breakdown, their relationships. The portfolio is what we're looking for.
And basically, when you're dealing with professional service, you don't even call it a resume. You should call it a CV. And but there is a motion on the floor. It's been seconded, and we kind of getting out of order here. We having discussion. We just got a second.
What you got to do, a vote?
That's
okay,
right.
Well, go ahead. We vote, Carl.
Hey, we can vote. We can vote. We don't have to do a roll call vote. That's just all in favor.
Aye.
Oppose.
Hey, I oppose.
One oppose. Motion carries. Let's look at our consent agenda. We have the information in our package for all of these line items.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I think
sir.
we voted a couple of months ago that on the consent agenda, we can lump them all up and vote at one time.
That's correct.
So, sir, I move that we accept items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
All right.
Second.
We moved in second that we approve all consent agenda items. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm going to ask if it's okay if we move agenda item number 5 to agenda item number 1. Does anyone have any objection to that?
Sir, I do. Well, no, I don't. Go ahead. Because actually, I want to table. I want to table it.
So here we want to discuss for popular consideration selection of a vice president for the board of directors of the corporation, Mr. Baptiste. Mr. Baptiste, we move number 5 to number 1. I read it already. You can-
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, because we have it on the agenda for, Mr. Sherfers did remove himself from the board, resigned from the board, that leave a vacant position of vice president. We're asking you guys, if you wish to among yourselves, select a person to serve as vice chair.
Question. Since the election of officers is in January, I would like to wait at that time to elect an officer. The bylaw states that if the president is not here and the vice president is not here, then the officers elect someone to hold the meeting. So for me, I'd rather wait until we re-elect officers in January.
You're gonna leave the board, is the consensus of the board to leave this position vacant until January?
Having a conversation now, I don't know what the consensus is just yet. Any other comments or questions concerning that agenda item by selecting a vice chair?
Yeah, I have a comment. I have to agree with Mr. Smith at this time. We'll be having a new board member tomorrow. And I think that individual should be given the same privilege and opportunity that we have. And we'll have a brand new commissioner tomorrow that will be added to this board. And I think that would be totally inappropriate for us to select someone and that individual is not going to be given an opportunity. I mean, just less than 24 hours, we'll have a new individual. And so I have to totally agree with Commissioner Smith that with the elections coming up in just a few months, I think we should wait.
We basically won't just have we have another board member, but not a vice president.
Right.
We don't need one at this time.
What's
Any
the
other
duty?
comments?
No, what the vice president?
Just fulfilling my absence.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Any other comments about this? Just let me hear it. You just tear it down. I still need I need a motion to whatever we're not gonna do.
I'll make a motion that we table the selection of the vice president until the January where we elect officers in 2022.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, agenda item number 1. To discuss for popular consideration approving furniture purchase for the press building in the amount of $230,467.75 from Hernandez Office Supply.
Okay, I have a comment before we get into this. I've been here 5 or 6 months, and I haven't seen any furniture. I don't know what it looked like. I don't know what color it is. I don't know if it's green, orange, purple, red. I don't know how many we buying. I don't know any of that. I move that we table that purchase and not approve it until the commissioners have an opportunity to look at it. We talking about spending $250,000. I haven't seen any of it, not one piece of the furniture.
See, and I believe that when we start talking about stuff like that, and just hear me when I say it, we're trying to get into the business of our employees. You know, I believe as a board, our job is to, yes, manage and shape and make sure things are done right. But at some point, we have to let our employees do what they do. And we need to hear her out, see where this came from. I mean, picking the furniture, that's not our job.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
And listen to what I'm saying.
Okay, but yes, it's your opinion.
Personally, do not believe that the board is supposed to run the EDC. Okay? And I don't want to run the EDC. So, I mean, we have to let our employees do what we pay them to do.
Mr. Chairman,
we're trying to micromanage everything.
We're talking about $250,000.
You're talking about picking furniture colors, man.
Sir, I'm making an example. Hold on. I have the floor right now. Sir, I totally disagree with you. And at the same time, we talking about spending $250,000. I haven't seen any bids. $250,000. Wait a minute. They're asking for approval of $250,000. I haven't seen any bids. I don't know if the quality of the material, and you darn gone right, that's our job. I'm sorry that you feel different. That's your opinion.
It's not our job.
My opinion differ from yours. And I disagree, and there may be other board members on here that disagree with you too. Okay, that's your opinion. And I'm gonna tell you to spend $250,000, you doggone right, I wanna see it. I'm not gonna just rubber stamp it. You can rubber stamp all you want, but I'm not.
Why don't you just lease it?
And we let her explain what is going on so we can all get a clear understanding as to what it is she even bringing to the table. We don't know. You jumped the gun. We don't know what she finna
No,
say.
we're not jumping the gun.
You did jump the
We
gun. She didn't
normally
open
get-
her
we-
mouth yet.
We
Let
normally
her open
get,
her mouth.
we normally get 3 bids. We're being asked to approve something that we haven't even seen yet.
We can't, who said we're approving it? She ain't
It's on the
explained it.
agenda to be approved.
You got to vote on it though, right?
Point of order. Let's hold up 1 second. Jana, give your presentation.
Okay,
And then
good
we'll move from
evening
there.
again, board. So the first thing I would like to say is that the city of Port Arthur participates in what they call a buy board program. And so what the state does on the state level is they select certain vendors based on pricing that they promise to give to municipalities and state and local governments by participating in this program. So what that does is that alleviates, number one, the need to get bids. Because what the state has already said is, this is a vendor that we have approved to participate in this program, and they promise to give you a certain percentage off of any order that you make. That's how we hired DataVox. We didn't have to go out for bids and have 10 different companies looking at our floor plans, because the state already decided that DataVox was the vendor that was approved to participate in that program. So in this area, it's Hernandez. For example, Lamar chose to go with Manning's. Manning's is not on the buy board program. Hernandez is. This furniture was actually selected over 1.5 years ago, and it was approved by whatever committee looked at that furniture. When I got here, that furniture was already selected. So once COVID came in, all I had to do was go and meet with Debbie at Hernandez and select some materials that now have a certain protection on them so that they can be wiped down more frequently than not to stop the virus. So again, for example, the list price on the furniture for the building is $536,342. But because Hernandez Office Solution is our text mass buy board contractor, we get that $536,000 worth of furniture for $230,467. And we don't have to go out for bids to get that discount because the state has already approved Hernandez as that vendor. Now, the paper that I just handed out to you is a revised quote that I received from Hernandez in the last week, okay? And the reason is Global, who is the actual furniture manufacturer, sent this note out, and I'll read it verbatim. Accordingly, we will be implementing a temporary 5.5% raw material surcharge on all Global and Evolve products, as well as a 20% surcharge on all Offices To Go products effective August 16th, 2021. Surcharges will apply to all orders received on or after this date and will be calculated on the net selling price. Orders placed prior to August 16, 2021 must ship within normal published lead times. Orders requesting extended deliveries will be assessed a surcharge. Okay? So the reason why I'm showing you this is because it has increased our price by about $11,000. I've spoken with the city attorney and Mr. Goodson, and they both agree that should you all choose to approve the furniture purchase tonight, that we do it at the higher cost, okay? And there should, well, I'm hearing that there may be a special council meeting where we can get this approved and ordered prior to that August 16th date and keep that cost at $230,000. okay? But all of this furniture was selected long before I even got back here. And again, when I first got here, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Baptiste, but the cost was actually gonna be $265,000. I went in and chose some fabrics that not only were a little lower grade, but also those that could be wiped down more frequently due to the coronavirus and had a certain sort of protection on them. So again, time is of the essence because there's a 10-week lead time on that furniture. And again, we want to try to get it ordered prior to the August 16th surcharge deadline.
So it's, I got a question, so it's almost better to probably get it now or, get approval for it now before it actually change, because it can change for higher.
It's
Correct.
gonna change August 16th, that's gonna happen. So if we approve it at the higher amount, but don't spend the entire $240,000, nobody's going to be upset.
Gotcha.
And we also get the order in on time, in enough lead time to have it delivered on time, because you're talking about 5 18-wheelers worth of furniture, and we don't have anywhere to store that, okay? And so once it's manufactured and it's delivered here, we have to be able to accept delivery.
Second question I have is, correct me if I'm wrong, that you don't have to do any bids. This is the lowest
Correct.
possible bid we can get. So comparing prices is really out of the question.
Well, what it
because-
does is it says if I want to go with a vendor that the state doesn't approve, then I have to go get 3 bids. Or I can just choose to approve, to use who the state has already mandated that they have to give us a certain percentage discount.
But we won't get all these percentages if we go outside of
I
what the
doubt it,
state.
they're gonna want the $500,000.
Okay, I want to make a comment now, okay? Because I don't want us to be misled. I used to do that list. That list doesn't mean that at all, okay? That's an absolute lie, number one. All that list is, it means that you have been approved by the state, they approve your price. That doesn't mean it's the lowest price that you can get at all. And if anybody tell you that, that's an absolute misrepresentation of it. And I'm not gonna sit here and listen to that garbage, okay? What I will say is, we can go off a bit, because for one, Lamar didn't pick, they went to Monroe's. She just said that. Why didn't Lamar pick that same individual off that list? They had a reason. Maybe the reason could be, I don't know, but maybe because the price was lower or the quality was better. There's advantages to those lists, but when you're spending $250,000, you should get bids. It doesn't mean you have to go on that list and get the best price at all. And I still feel what we should do is get bids, and we should know what we're buying. It has nothing to do with micromanaging staff. But when you're spending $250,000 and we all took the same oath, we should be held accountable and responsible for spending $250,000. And that's not micromanaging. It's good business. And I think that my personal opinion is we need to look and see what the furniture is. We need 3 prices to compare, and we could very well end up with the same people. But when somebody tells me if I don't buy it right now versus later, I get concerned.
Well, this is what you got to deal with, Commissioner. She specifically stated that the price gonna change. If we killing time, then the price can go up. It's not gonna go down, it's gonna go up.
You don't know that.
You don't know, we don't know where you're gonna go.
Okay,
While we trying to get bids, the price going up. And where do we get all these bids and they still not equivalent to the original price we
Well, let me tell you
originally
this.
got?
If I know I'm your only vendor and I give you a price for, say, $100,000, and I'm the only one bidding, and if I know you bidding and you bidding, you bidding, I might give you $75,000 if I got competitors bidding against me.
It's from the state of Texas, though.
No, this is not from the state of Texas.
That's what she
I'm
just said. That's what she just said.
What I'm saying is, we can go to individuals just like Lamar did, that's not on that vendor list. And there's a reason Lamar did that.
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Baptiste, you look like you wanted to say something.
I'd
What you
like
got?
to say, first thing, you know, the city is going with the same contract, Hernandez. City is purchasing furniture for that building using the same contract. And as Janice stated, this has been a year and a half. We don't just go into a store and pick a furniture. You know, we got to design all this stuff. It take, if we would start all over, we're talking about another 18 months before we get furniture for that building. You know, so it's up to the board. You know, again, I say the city did go with the same contractor that we are going with. You know, you know, there's a reason why municipality go with contractors that's certified by the state. There's a reason.
I don't disagree with Mr. Floyd at all. I think that's a very positive comment, and I don't disagree with him. But I still say I would feel much better if I had something to compare it with. And Mr. Baptiste, you are 1,000% correct in your comments. I totally agree with you. But I still feel more comfortable personally as a business person to look at bids. I don't like to always just have one price. I mean, even if I was out going to buy something for myself, if I was going to buy me a car, I'm going to go look and try to get the best deal that I can get. And I just feel obligated and responsible for me to confirming if I can have something to compare my price to. That's all I'm saying.
My point is that we are prolonging the process. That's my opinion. Everybody got their opinion. My opinion is you say you probably have to wait 18 months, you know, to get a bid, start all over. So guess what that's gonna do? Push us back 18 more months till we can even decide on some furniture. That may or may not be something that we really even want anyway. So I'm agreeing with moving forward. The state picked these people. We don't, where we gonna go? Where we gonna get bids from?
We can go to get them in Houston, Dallas, it doesn't matter, but I will say this, the state didn't pick anybody. Okay, first of all, what they did was they applied to get on that bidders list and they were approved. The state didn't pick them, and I want you to stop saying
No,
that.
I didn't say that.
Yes,
I
you
said
did.
the state
You said
approved these people.
That is not what you said.
Well,
They heard you.
the state approved these
Okay,
people.
now you're changing your
And
comment.
then, okay, I'm changing it now. The
It's
state approved them.
Gentlemen, point of order. Can I have a motion one way or the other?
I move it.
I move that we table this and we get 3 bids. Now, that's my personal opinion, and I'm entitled to it just like he's entitled to his.
Exactly.
But my motion is that we go out for 3 bids, and I don't think it's going to take 18 months to have it. I think that's way far-fetched.
We got a motion on the floor.
Peter motion for it first.
We have Peaches
You
first.
got to get a second.
Gotta get a second.
Mhm. All right, it's been moved and second that we table this. I believe we may need a roll call on this one, though.
Mr. Anderson,
I do not want to table this.
Christopher Smith, Rashad Harris.
I table it.
What was? No. Okay, Dallas Smith. Dallas Smith. It's a vote now, though.
Vote.
Yes.
To table. Roosevelt Petrie.
Table.
Rhonda Connor. Motion died. Tie.
So where we can make a new motion?
Yes, you can.
I want to make a
it's
motion
tie.
to move forward. with the purchase of the furniture?
It's kind of pointless because you had 3 that agreed, 3 didn't. So so there's no action, there's nothing. So we need to wait until we have our next
I
commission
thought I
meeting.
made a motion. Did I make a motion?
Got a motion,
You
now
can't
we
motion?
need a second.
Okay, so I motion what I just motioned to move forward with it.
Get a second.
Okay, now you're gonna end up with 3-3 again.
It's been moved and second that we move forward with the furniture purchase.
Okay, Mr.
Give me
Chairman, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I understand what you guys are doing, but I want this board to fully understand the implication of this motion that y'all taking right now. If we do not move forward with the purchase of this equipment, it will take us 18 months before we could get, so we will have a vacant building with no furniture. It takes time, folks, to get this furniture. We don't just go to the store and say we want this and that. There's so much furniture. A lot of this stuff got to be made. You know, I just want this board to understand that if we do not make the order now, a portion of that building will be vacant with no furniture.
I have a question,
until we
Mr.
get.
Ford. I have a question for you.
Mr. Peter, can I finish?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay,
Apologize.
until we could order furniture and they could manufacture that furniture and deliver that furniture to us.
And I add something also. I have a list of all the furniture. I also have fabric samples. I have everything. What I want y'all to know is that this quote has been in place since last year, since before I got here. It's not something that I'm pushing at the last minute. The thing is, if we ordered it, it has to go into production. Again, we wouldn't have anywhere to store it. So every month when Joan is doing the agenda, I say, push it back another month. Push it back another month because we have construction delays. Because the board and the staff told CTEX concentrate on getting Lamar in, okay? So as long as we have construction delays, I've been pushing back. Now, with regards to ordering furniture, it's not just giving people a list and saying, I need 100 desks and 2,000 chairs. They have to come in and look at our floor plans. They have to decide what will fit based on our floor plans in order to purchase each piece of furniture for each room. Now they're at the point where they're going in and saying, okay, this won't work because doors have to swing open, things like that. We've ironed all of that out. We've ironed it all out, and
Let me ask you this question. When you purchased the furniture, did they give you a list price for each item?
yes, I have it right here in my
Why we didn't
hand.
get that?
You did months ago.
I don't remember getting that.
Months ago,
All
and
we
I can
got
go-
is a number.
No.
And that's why
No.
I have a problem with it.
The reason why I didn't give it to you again tonight is because you already got it.
Mr. Smith, I could give you every piece of equipment that we ordered about this stack. I could send it to you tomorrow morning. Of every item that we have ordered for that building.
And do they have a price on each item?
They have a price on it. Yes, sir.
As long as you have it, I can view it.
Yes,
You
sir.
don't have to send it
We
to me.
have all that. We have all that. And, you know, in the future, staff, you know, anything that we get, we just send it to them.
Right, Joan just said we had given it to y'all.
But we did. That was about a
but she
year and a
didn't wanna
half ago.
send it to you
That
guys
was about a
again.
year and a half ago.
Well, like you said, I can't remember a week ago.
Right.
Well, I'm telling you,
that's
we
out of
did
your
give it
mouth.
to you guys. 'Cause I will tell you.
Again, we
Mr.
have
Smith-
a motion on the floor and a second. We need to vote.
Yeah.
Let's do the,
Mr. Chairman,
what you got?
I know we're in discussion phase of this, okay?
Go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I would ask is this. I know we have to have furniture, okay? Like I said, I just feel about what I said earlier, but Mr. Baptiste, how much time do we have between now, do we have a week available before this price change or any of that? Do we have, how much time do we have? Sir?
price will change on the 15th, Jenna, on the 15th.
So we have 2
You will have
weeks.
to pay an additional $11,000.
Right, okay, so I'm just asking a question here. Okay, so we have 14 days, today is the 2nd, so we have 13 days. If the price gonna change, that was my question, you said the 15th, today is the 2nd. That's 13 days. So my question is this, why can't we just make a few phone calls and find out how long it would take someone? I mean, I can make some calls, find out myself how long it would take to furnish a building like that. I don't think it's gonna take 18 months.
It's not that easy, Mr. Petrie. It's not that easy. As you just heard what Jana just said, this furniture fits like a glove in the building based upon the plan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we would have to have someone deal with the architect, come in here and measure the room, and then, you know, put the furniture. That will cost us additional money. Then we have to find a manufacturer, get like what you want to do, go get 3 quotes. That may take us 30, 40 days.
Okay.
To do that. Hold up,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Pete. And after we do that, then it takes another 18 months to build those furniture.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, it doesn't make sense, man.
I have an idea, if you don't mind. I have an idea. Mr. Baptiste? Mr. Baptiste?
I thought we had a
We in the
motion.
discussion mode right now.
I
Sir,
thought we had a
point of
motion,
order.
though.
We don't need staff trying to run this meeting and tell us about a motion.
Go ahead and talk.
We're in discussion phase. He need to
Mr.
allow
Petrie,
us,
go ahead
the
and
board members to
Mr. Petrie. Go ahead and discuss.
He's out of order.
Go ahead and
George is
talk,
out of
Mr.
order.
Petrie. Go ahead and talk. Go
He
ahead
need
and
to
talk.
sit there and allow us to discuss. He's not a member of this board.
Go ahead and talk, Mr. Petrie.
Okay, so, Mr. Baptiste, this is what I would recommend. Is if you would be willing, the information that you told Commissioner Smith, you would furnish that, then I would ask if you furnish that and give us a couple of days to review it, we could have a special meeting. I would be willing to change my vote if I don't have a problem with what you send us. And that way it wouldn't be a problem at all.
Mr. Petrie, if you heard what Ms. Bourne just said, we have had discussion with the city manager and city attorney to hold a special meeting by the council, because whatever you guys do, they have to ratify it.
Yes, sir.
So we are looking at not only your time, but their time, because they have to approve it before we could tell the vendor that we're gonna purchase it. So we have, today is the 2nd, we got 13 days.
Yes,
and
sir.
in that 13 days, count 3 days, which is, 1 is a holiday and 2 is a weekend. 4 days a week, 5 days. So now you're down to 8 days. We're down to 8 days to make a decision. So what I'm saying to this board, not to Mr. Petrie, whatever you guys' decision y'all make, we could live with it.
Okay, now I'd like to finish my comment. What I was saying is this, sir. Today is, what, Monday? If we have a special meeting here, council meeting is tomorrow. That's their regular scheduled meeting is tomorrow. If you email us that information tomorrow, you could call, sir, a special meeting, and we can revote. And I would most likely, if the information that I receive is good, change my vote. You still got more than enough time. But tonight, I want to see
You
it.
got your motion on the floor, man.
Okay, so I'm trying to work, but you got to work with me. You just can't not work with us and expect that.
Work for the board, Mr. Petrie. I don't work for Petrie. I work for the board.
Mr. Baptiste.
I made a motion.
Let's-
What we supposed to do with that
We,
motion?
we have a motion and a second on the floor. Let's vote.
Thank you.
We through a discussion. Let's go ahead and let's
Okay.
go ahead and vote. I guess we have to do a roll call vote again. So let's go ahead and do that. I am for purchasing the furniture.
Purchase.
Purchase.
Let's purchase the furniture. I mean,
Purchase.
let's be unanimous. Purchase.
Motion carries. Agenda item number 2. to discuss with possible consideration approving a lease agreement with Lamar State College Port Arthur for the Culinary Arts Hospitality Program at 549 4th Street. You got the lease. You have a lease. You see a lease. Oh. Questions?
Sir, can you reread that again?
I couldn't hear you.
Could you reread it again?
You guys, at the last board meeting, y'all approved the terms and conditions for a lease agreement with Lamar State College Port Arthur. The lawyer has prepared the agreement, and based upon the terms and conditions that you guys have recommended, and it's here for y'all approval.
Lease has been drafted by our attorneys based on the terms that the board approved at last month's meeting. And the exhibits are attached, which are basically just the legal description, the floor plan, and it also states that the kitchen equipment stays in the ownership and possession of the Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation. But should there be any damages to that equipment beyond reasonable wear and tear, that Lamar is responsible for repair or replacement.
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Your second?
Second.
All right, been moved and second that we move forward with the lease agreement for Lamar State College Port Arthur Culinary Arts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 3, to discuss with possible consideration approving the definition of the term enrollment within digital workforce training agreement. Nada?
Yes, sir. Mr. Renata gonna handle it, okay?
I think at the last meeting, we discussed and you guys discussed and came up with an agreement that you wanted it spelled out in hours. So what myself and Kay did, we got together and pretty much it's 120 hours. It's a 10-week program. And so basically under the performance by PAEDC in the actual agreement, we spelled it out and it's defined as 30 hours of training. And so we'll pay them after they've completed 30 hours of training.
My only question is, have we already given this to them? Are they aware of the, no? Okay. So just for us to approve now to send to them?
Yes.
Gotcha. Need a motion. Any other questions? I'm sorry.
So move.
Before we second this, if I can.
Go right ahead.
Do we have a requirement for an attendance? So how do we qualify 30 hours? 5 days a week, 7 days a week?
Oh,
How do we qualify?
3 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I second.
All right, it's been moved and second that we move forward with approving the definition of the term enrollment in digital workforce agreement. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 4, to discuss setting a timeline chart for all pending agenda items within the next 60 days.
Yes, sir. Oh, boy, let me find my package. I think, Mr. Smith, that was yours?
Yes.
Yes.
I think in your package, I gave you guys a Excel spreadsheet. And these are the items that we, staff, will sit down and look at what we have to do and what has to be accomplished. The first thing I have, I put it on the project, the staff and the board responsibility, and I put a proposed completion date. Those are the things I thought about when I was putting this thing together. 549 4th Street, you know, we spent a lot of time on that building, you know, myself and Jana and George, you know, we kind of like the project managers of the building, you know, so, you know, we stay in touch with the contractor, we stay in touch with the architect, with the vendors, everybody that's doing some work over there. We're dealing with these people every day. So, and that's gonna go on through November 2021. The next thing I got in here, the Industrial Training Center, That's on Lamar State College campus. This board gonna have to come to an agreement with Lamar State College because within that agreement, there's 100 Port Arthur residents that's gonna be train free. So because we contribute $1 million to that project, so an agreement have to be made. The next thing, the RFP for the legal service, we provided a draft to the board for y'all approval. Y'all tabled that tonight, but I guess I put on there as soon as possible. So that's the timeline when y'all could set y'all timeline on that one. Y'all also said y'all wanted to review the job description of the CEO, and I think the board have already put a subcommittee to look at that deal. Again, I put as soon as possible, but that's up to y'all timeline. It's all of the board. The next thing, the board to hire a consultant to recruit the CEO. I guess you're gonna get an attorney to prepare an RFQ, or you go out there and get you a search firm to do this. I put as soon as possible, but that's the board. You guys set your own timeline on that also. The next thing, digital workforce, you guys took care of that one tonight, so that's an okay. Naming rights, I did say the board, if the board approved that both EDA and THC need to be contacted prior to taking any action on this thing. And as I said to you guys earlier, I didn't want to contact no EDA or TDHS until you guys know where I was going with this stuff. The bylaws committee, there is a subcommittee that's put together, and that's on the board timeline, so I just put ASAP whenever y'all want to complete that one. The next thing, a legal agreement with the city of Port Arthur. An agreement has to be reached with the city attorney, and then have the attorney prepare a lease agreement. That is, that's real close because they can move in. They can't move in until they have a lease agreement. You know what I mean? And I think that portion of the building is just about ready, huh, Jana? Correct. Yeah. Mesquite industry coding. We still waiting on the financials. A lot of this depends on the client themselves. We don't push them. If they don't give it to us, it just sits there until it go away. Phoenix Industrial staff is still waiting on the survey. Once we get the survey from them, then we move forward with the sale of the land. Clifford Distillers, we're still waiting on the financials from this guy. Again, we wait on financials, the information until they give it to us. If they don't give it to us, the project don't move forward. And tonight, you guys just approved Guffway Shopping Center, which is the infrastructure, and also the medical facility, which is the infrastructure. Then that would be put on. The next thing would be waiting on those folks to provide us the necessary documentation so that we can come back to you guys to make some decisions. Those were all the projects that we currently have active right now that we could think of. There's some other things that we are currently working on, but it haven't come to you guys yet. It haven't been a letter of intent. I know, George, when is that? Wednesday we have a call, and I think is this Saturday or next Saturday the folks come in here? The 21st? I don't know. We have a client come and visit us, but it's not a client until it's a client, It's not a deal until it's a deal. But if there's any other projects in here that y'all could think of, but those were all the ones that we thought about. Chris, did this answer most of your question, Chris?
Yes, Mr. Baptiste, it does answer my question, and to the board and fellow commissioners, the purpose of this is that, the EDC itself have a lot of actions that are cascading, and they are follow-on actions, and, we talk about a lot of different things, but if you don't know that what priority may be for what, and one thing leads into something else, and if we don't have a decision on that, it can cascade into something else, and then it can follow on to something else. We as a board got to figure out how we want to move, and what we want to act on that's going to have cascading actions that are going to affect everything that are major muscle movements for what we do for EDC. So I thought that the prospect of them laying this out like this, we can probably put some timelines to this stuff, we can track it, and we can see the movement that we need to see to make things happen.
I agree, man. That's good. I agree.
I'm fine with it, Mr.
Oh, yeah.
So, just not an action item, right? Okay. Just making sure.
We appreciate the
Just-
information.
Yeah.
Very good.
Definitely. Just to, I think we kind of already talked about it on a personal note, but just to say it out loud, knowing this is very, 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 very important. So, and to be able to solidify and push some of this stuff through, those ASAPs are the ones that are really ASAPs. And we need to a couple of those committees we need to definitely get taken care of. But I think we're on a good path. We just have to just keep, plucking at it, and making sure that these things don't just sit around and not get done. So thank you, Mr. Baptiste, for your work. Thank you, Chris, for bringing that up for us to have all this information in our hands to make those decisions in a effective and timely manner. Agenda item number 6, to discuss for possible consideration naming a committee to review the job description for the position of Chief Executive Officer and Deputy Director for the PA EDC. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, sir. The board had requested both the job description for the CEO position and the deputy director. I think you guys have received that. If y'all haven't, have they received those? And it should be. I don't know if you guys have named a committee yet, but I think you guys wanted to look at the current job description and make the necessary changes that you guys want to make prior to you guys going out and getting the new person. So it's on the committee to come back with the findings of the current job or the changes that they want to make.
Let me get Mr. Harris, if you would, Mr. Christopher Smith, if you would, and Mr. Petrie, if you would, work on those. But here's what we need to do. We need to get them back kind of quick. So y'all get together and then come back to the board with something for us as it relates to these job descriptions.
Yes, sir. May I make one comment?
Go right ahead.
The comment that I would make is about the deputy director, because the board doesn't hire the deputy director. And I just want to make sure that I understand what you're asking me to do. The CEO will hire the deputy director. Mm-hmm. And is that something that we need to be doing for the deputy director, or should we leave that for the CEO, Mr. Baptiste? I mean, that's just a question I'm asking because I know we don't directly hire that individual. We only hire the CEO guy. So would it be correct for us to do that for him, or should we leave that for the new CEO?
That's up to the board, Mr. Petrie. I think what they're looking at is just a job description right now.
Okay.
The job description, you could set the parameters that you would like to see in your next deputy director, and it would give the person who's in charge at least some guidance on what you're looking for.
So let me ask, did you write the one for the deputy director?
I wrote a description for everybody in here. Yes, sir.
Okay. The board didn't write it.
No, sir, I did.
You did.
Right.
And so that's why I'm asking, I just.
Yeah, it was, as I said, it was a request by the board for both the CEO and the deputy, and that's what we gave you guys.
I am drawing a blank, but
I'll
I know it's a reason
want.
why. It's a reason why we talked about the deputy director. There was something we were to change in there, and I cannot. Come on, Chris, help me. I know you remember what it is.
Well, the initial kind of draft, I had provided some guidance on some additions and some addendums and some amendments to it, but it was being handled by Germer at that particular point in time, and Kate. Those were my recommendations that I had pushed forward, but point blank is, I can't remember exactly what, but I know it's on the email, what we had kind of agreed to, but we hadn't come to any kind of finalization or any proposal on what we wanted to do with that information. And then once we got the resignation notice from Germer resignation, it just died right there, and there was no other further comments or commentary on it. That's what my memory serves.
What we can do, I still want to do it the way it's listed, if that's for this committee to look at both of those. But what I can do is we can get those emails, because there's a chain of emails that was out, and then the committee can have those and kind of begin to work. But we do need to do it just like with the bylaws. Whoever's on that committee, we have to do that. Need to do it in a timely manner, so we can get that back to the board, so we can make decisions and move forward pretty quickly. I have to leave. I really have to be somewhere now, so we really need to decide who will chair the meeting from this point forward, since we don't have a vice chair in place.
Well, I would move, since Mr. Dallas Smith is an officer, I would move that Mr. Smith would chair the meeting in your absence.
What we'll do is he'll call for the votes, and we'll allow Mr. Baptiste to kind of push through the meeting as far as reading the agenda items and things of that nature, if that's okay with the board. That's fine. He'll call for the votes. Okay, y'all, please forgive me. I've never done this. I probably won't ever do this again, but I have somewhere I'm supposed to be by, and I'm also late. But I do apologize. Please forgive me.
Do we have to vote on this? Do we have to make a motion?
We do have to vote. I've already made the motion. According to our bylaws, we have to select someone.
Right, and I second that motion from Commissioner Peach.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Anderson, you be safe.
Thank you. We're on agenda item number 7. Mr. Baptiste, do you mind reading them, please? Do you mind reading the agenda items, please?
For possible consideration, rescheduling. Sorry about that. To discuss for possible consideration, rescheduling the September 6, 2020 regular board meeting to Monday, September 13th, 2021, due to Labor Day holiday. Again, we asking you guys if y'all want to reschedule y'all meeting to the 13th, because the 6th is Labor Day. It's up to the consensus of this board.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Number 8, Mr. Baptiste.
Yes, sir. To discuss for possible consideration appointing an RFP review committee for the lease kitchen at 549 4th Street. Janet, you want to talk about that one?
We could keep it the same as the other committee, which is Harris, Anderson, and Smith, or we could select a new committee so that once those bids are open, and, you know, I bet them, I have a matrix, and then the committee and I can review them.
I so move.
I second.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Number 9.
To discuss for possible consideration approving a landlord waiver and consent for Parfab. I think in your package, there is some documents that Parfab is one of the tenants at 501 Proctor Street in this building. And I think in the package, they wanted to remove the liability. The bank wanted coverage on the liability of their furniture. We did send this to the attorney. The attorney did approve it. The only thing that the attorney said was the litigation, if any litigation, it had to happen in the state of Texas. That's the only change that took place. So we did not see any problem with this. We ask for your approval.
So move.
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Mr. Baptiste?
Number 10 is to discuss for possible consideration board travel. I think in the past, the board said that any travel that the board would be making, the board would have to approve it. I think Mr. Petrie, you have a scheduled travel sometime this month or next month, I'm not sure. And he's just asking for the board approval. I think you're going to Atlanta, is that right?
Yes, sir. I think it's some kind of mandatory training we have to have.
Right, some training. We just come before this board to approve this training, so, it's kind of a routine thing. Just come before you guys when board members train. I think the policy said the board will approve each board member training. I approve staff training. So we're asking you guys to approve Mr. Petrie travel.
Motion to approve it.
Commissioner Petrie, what type of training, because I'm not familiar with the training, can you tell us a little bit about the training?
It was when I first got back on the board, Mr. Baptiste had made a presentation to us about we had to have certain training. And even in the training that we had with the joint meeting with the city council the other day, they also mentioned there was some certain training that we had to have, like every 2 years or something, was it, Mr. Baptiste?
Yeah. One other thing, and I'm just going to go back, one other thing, I encourage all board members, there's 3 trainings I ask board members if you guys could attend to take. Sales tax training, understand that sales tax, what it means and how you get it and how you could spend it. The other one is basic economic development. And I think you're going to take basic, right? But yes, basic economic development in London, England is the same thing as economic development in Port Arthur, because economic development is economic development. And the other training that I ask our board members, if you have the time, is strategic planning. So those are intimate courses that give you a lot of information about what we do. So those are the 3 courses that I require. I also say, if you want to go to a annual seminar where you see a little bit of a holistic approach to economic development, I certainly encourage a couple of board members if they would like to go. In fact, this year is a live spot. I'm going to recognize Mr. What's that guy's name? It's in Nashville, Tennessee, Vincent. It's in Nashville, Tennessee. Good place to go. Okay.
The live training.
Yeah, it's good music, Nashville. So it's just a good place to go, In fact, I just want to say that Nashville is probably the only place I've been where they have live music in the airport. Oh. Live music. Anyway, that's training.
So do the training lasts with like 1-2 days or?
Well, I think basic is a 3 or 4 day course, Pete. I'm not sure.
I don't remember. I've never taken it.
And strategic planning is about 3 or 4 days. They're very intense.
Wow.
I mean, I was glad you mentioned it to me, but the only reason I'm going because I think it will help me, but at the same time, you told me we had to take it, so
yeah.
I was thinking Mr. Harris was going to go with me.
Yeah. I'm going to go. I just got to map it out.
And the other thing, you get a chance to network with other people.
What date is that, sir? I'm going.
I don't know.
If you're going in Atlanta, I believe it's
the 31st of this month. Mr. Harris, you going with?
I'm gonna see. I'll let you guys know whether if I can make it or not. How soon do you have to have that in?
Give us at least, the earlier the better.
Okay.
Because we got to set up your rooms and your airfare and all that stuff.
Okay.
But
well, I think we had a motion on the floor from Commissioner Petrie, and I second that motion.
Yeah.
For the training, the mandatory training that we all should attend.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's been moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it.
Number 11, Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, number 11 is discuss for possible consideration approval of a proposal from commercial industrial HVAC and auto service for installation of compressors over the building. I don't know if you guys know, but we all have an air conditioning.
Problems here. It's taking some time for that compressor to come in. They have been doing some temporary work on the building. We've been having Nance over here, and as you guys see, we have an invoice of $11,225,000 that we need to pay them to provide the service. If you look at the page 1, they tell you the replacement of the compressor, the recover the refrigerant, disconnect the compressor. They tell you what they're gonna do.
Is this the original guy that installed the unit?
No, this is not the original one. I think it was some, don't quote me, American something. I'm not, I have the name of them, but they were here about 3, 4, 5 years, and then we went out for bid, and these guys came up, the board selected these guys, and that's we've been having.
How old is that unit, sir?
This building is about 8 years old.
That unit is no longer under warranty?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
I so move that we accept it as written.
I second it.
Been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Number 12, Mr. Baptiste.
To discuss for possible consideration the approval of a proposal. No, that's number. To discuss for possible consideration on a forensic audit requested by Mr. Petrie. The only thing what I did, you guys are in your package, I just went and looked up the definition of forensic audit, and so that you guys who are unfamiliar with this, I gave y'all some information. Nothing been changed. This thing came straight from the books. So, Mr. Petrie.
Okay. Thank you for the information, Mr. Baptiste. Some of this stemmed from 501, some of the concerns that I had with 501, and yes, I did ask for a forensic audit. What I would ask is that we begin with a sampling audit, and if the auditors determine that we need to move to a forensic, that we would already have it approved. But I would think we would start with a sampling audit to where they sample different areas that we would direct them to sample. And if it looks like they need to move to a forensic, that would already be pre-approved. And I think that would be good, because I know if I was the new director or CEO coming in, I want to know where we at. And I think that would only be good to know. And that's not to imply that there's any criminal activities or anything like that at all. But I would like to start sample, and if need be, we have the pre-authorization to go further. I think that Mr. Baptiste, to the best of my knowledge, has done the best that his capabilities here with EDC, and I want to thank him. The clock is ticking. We're getting closer and closer, Mr. Baptiste, to where we have to do something. And I would hope that we would move as quickly as possible to get someone, at least an interim in here, to where maybe they can work that last month with Mr. Baptiste if he would be willing to teach him. We need some kind of transition on computer to files to clients to the feds who he's been working with, grants and different things that's out there. I would hate that Mr. Baptiste would leave us and the person walking in doesn't even know how to get in the building. I would think that there need to be some kind of transitional, some time. You're not going to know all the stuff that he's done in 17 plus years in a blink of an eye. They're just not going to happen to anybody. And but I would hope that some key information would be shared with him, and that we would let Mr. Baptiste know that he is appreciated and that his service has been greatly appreciated and missed, and and that we're able to have an applicable way of moving forward. And knowing the man that I've been known for 20 years, I don't think that that's going to be a problem for Mr. Baptiste. I really don't. And I personally want to thank you for everything you've done for this EDC, Mr. Baptiste. And I don't know of a better time to even say that. So that forensic audit, I am asking that this board consider starting with a sample audit.
Can I say? I will say this. The city of Port Arthur have an annual audit, and that annual audit includes the audit of EDC. So if you want to, you could probably check with the financial office at the city of Port Arthur and ask them for the last audit of the city that includes audit of EDC, and anything after that audit, if you want to audit that, then it would narrow your scope down as to the amount of work that some independent person would have to come do, because there's an annual audit done here, both here and the city, annual. So I think it would be in the best interest of this board to get with the financial director and ask the director of finance a copy of the last audit, and if you guys and the auditors have some findings. If there's some findings, if there's some errors or some concerns, they list those concerns. If not, then it's not listed. But if you guys wish to look at from the last audit to the present, and I'm not sure, I think those audits normally start around in September, October, and they go through January, February. You probably, it would just narrow your scope down.
Mr. Baptiste, do you know when this body was last audited?
Say again?
Well,
last year.
Last
fiscal. Every fiscal year we audit.
Okay.
Every fiscal year.
Okay, so what I would ask is this: I would move that we table item number 12 until we able to do as Mr. Baptiste has suggested, that we get with the city and we start there. So I would ask that until we're able to do what he mentioned, that we table item number 12. That's my motion.
I second that.
Yeah, before we second, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of familiar with a audit. I kind of know how they work. I'm pretty sure some of you may have dealt with an audit before. Mm-hmm. And a forensic audit is basically what the definition says. So if there is something that is fraudulent going on, that's why they call for an audit. So my question is, where are we coming from we even want to do an audit? Like, what gives us reason or what gives us knowledge to say, let's do an audit? Like, are we just, because at the end of the day, whether we do a soft audit, hard audit, don't matter. It's not free, so it's coming out of your money, taxpayers' money, it's coming out of everybody's money. So at the end of the day, you can do an audit and find no findings and waste unexpected money that didn't even have to be spent, so that's just my stand with it personally, because a forensic audit is pretty stiff. I didn't have to deal with it before, so And I'm just imagining on a EDC level, I can imagine a cost of something like this. And I think it'll cost a pretty penny, just in my opinion, unless there's some proof behind all this, like fraudulent or mismanagement of money, and then I would agree with it. But, as far as just doing it just to do it, I personally find it's pointless. That's just me.
Okay, let me comment on that, sir. Uh, I made a motion to take Mr. Baptiste's advice and table this, and it was seconded by Mr. Smith that we take Mr. Baptiste's recommendation and table this until we get with the city. And if the city, like Mr. Baptiste said, if the city, if we find something, then you do a little bit more. And so my motion is exactly to take Mr. Baptiste's recommendation 100%. And so that means that we're not asking to do that right now, but we are asking to take his advice and do it the way he suggested. And so,
No. I understand what you're saying. I mean, I understand tabling, that's fine, but tabling it is, how we deal with tables all the time. It's only going to come back up again.
But doesn't mean we're going to do anything.
No, I got you. I understand.
We want
I
to follow
understand.
Mr. Baptiste's advice, take his recommendation, and get with the city and go from there.
Well, I mean, y'all already made a motion to table it. I get it. I understand. I just was voicing my personal opinion on the whole audit situation.
Yes, sir.
That's all I was saying.
Gotcha.
Motion has been made to table the forensic audit until we get with the city and see that audit. All in favor? Ayes have it. Go ahead.
As just stated, Commissioners, it's gonna come back on your next agenda just as it is right now.
We understand.
And I think what Mr. Harris is saying is very appropriate because when you table it, come back as is. It doesn't change. So next week, you're gonna see the same way it is on your agenda as it is today. In your package, I did give you guys a copy of, it cost the city $260,000.
How much?
$260,000 for
To do an audit before?
for forensic audit.
But keep one thing in mind, we're not a whole city. We're just one body. And I will say this, Mr. Baptiste, yes, it's going to come back, and since I'm the one that put it on the agenda, depending on what the city tell us, we may just drop it after that. Yes, it can come back.
Well, but it's gonna come back as is.
And that's okay. But based on what
I
the
just
city,
want this board to know y'all will see it again next board meeting.
we understand, but Mr. Baptiste, I just want to clarify, based on what we get from the city, it could very well come back, and because I'm the one put it on here, I could very well say, depending on what the city tell us, hey, it need to go away. It just depends on what we're told from the city. And I think that's a great way to look at it.
My job is to give you guys information.
No, thank you, sir.
What the audit the city does is an accounting audit. A forensic audit is specific to find fraud. So when you have a forensic audit, you almost know where you're going, what you're looking for. So as Mr. Harris was saying, it's a difference between an accounting audit and a forensic audit, because when you're talking about forensic, you're saying, I know there's some fraud.
Well, let's keep
So
one
you
thing.
have to name the objective or the fraud that you're looking for, so that when you get the person in there to audit, they audit.
Point of order, okay, we've already
What's
voted
point of order?
on it, it's over.
It's tabled.
It's over. I mean, I don't know why we having discussion. We already voted, it's done.
Well, no, so I'm trying to give information to my board so that they could have good information so they could make a decision.
And we appreciate it, but we've already
And
voted.
that's my job, to give information to this board so they can make a good decision. And what I'm saying to the board is that there's a difference between an accounting audit and a forensic audit. When you say a forensic audit, there's potential fraud there. And you have to identify the potential fraud so that when you get hired the auditor, he know what to go look for. They don't look for everything. They're looking for that specific, you know?
This definition
Thank you, Mr.
pretty
Baptiste.
much, this definition of, I know what a forensic
Hey,
audit is.
Mr.
It-
Chairman, point of order.
It's,
We've already
it's
voted. We
pointing
need to
out
move
fraud.
on.
That's all I know. I know what, I'm just saying I know what a forensic audit is. It's tabled. I understand, it's tabled. It's gonna come back next month. I get it.
Okay.
I'm just saying a forensic audit is pointing out fraud. That's all I'm
Discussion-
saying.
Mr. Chairman,
That's all I'm saying.
we've already voted. Why are we still discussing this item?
We asked for discussion before we voted.
No, we had a motion, we had a second, we had discussions, we
It's
voted.
tabled.
Why
I
are we
get
still?
it. It's tabled. I'm saying it's tabled. We just discussed it. It's tabled to next month. I get it. I was just saying a forensic audit is proving fraud. That's all I'm saying.
Here's a banker.
That's what it is. That's all.
Nobody never said it wasn't.
Okay, well then I'm saying, where's the fraud at then? You know where some fraud at? Where it happened?
Point of order. I mean, let this,
I got you. I'm sorry. I apologize.
listen.
I think that was the last
The
item, Mr. Smith.
next,
Yeah, I think we got to go to the closed session, I think.
To read those,
We don't have an attorney. Are we going to call our attorney and get him on the phone while we in the executive session?
We have nothing in closed session.
Sir?
We don't have anything in closed session.
Okay.
make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. To go in
We
executive
need to go in
session.
executive session. You
but
need
you
to
gotta
read.
read, you gotta
need
read that.
Yeah.
We gotta go in
Yes, we do.
Section 551.074, under the government code to discuss matters of personnel. Letter A, Chief Executive Officer. That's the only one?
That's the only one.
That's all we gotta discuss.
That's the only one you have on here. I'm only going by what's on here.
Read all that.
Darrell Anderson, Christopher Smith,
Here.
Rashad Harris,
Here.
Alice Smith, Roosevelt Petrie,
Here.
Rhonda County. Here. We have a quorum, Chair.
Mr. Smith?
Ready, Mr. Betty?
Rachel, the tape. The tape. On.
Yeah, man, I gotta get on the call in about 30 minutes. Because it's like 14, it's like 11 o'clock Singapore time in the morning. I'm really on people in the call and people in Singapore. Yeah, I think they, yeah, right. I gotta talk to the people in Singapore in about 35 minutes. And hopefully I can get off by 2 o'clock in the morning. So I can go back to sleep and wake up again for 7 o'clock in the morning, Central Time, to do a whole nother 8-hour day. Hmm? Well, actually, Zoom Communications, they're a client of mine, and I'm helping them.
Ready? Christopher Smith.
Yes. In regard to section 551.074 of the government code to discuss matters of personnel for the chief executive officer, the recommendation has been that we identify an interim CEO at ASAP, and the recommendation from a name perspective was Ike Mills.
Okay. Is that, who's making the motion?
I make the motion that we move forward with the interim recommendation for identifying a interim CEO that can work well with Mr. Baptiste for the transition, and we move forward with the name that has been proposed.
I second it.
It's been moved and second that Ike Mills as interim chief executive officer. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Call this meeting to adjournment.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and second.